Another bloody day in Lebanon. The Israeli airstrikes just keep on coming. 2 more strikes in Lebanon's capital, the 3rd time in 5 days that Beirut's been hit. Shredded bodies too graphic to show were blown onto car roofs. The Israeli forces said they targeted the head of Hezbollah's missiles and rockets unit, Mohammed Kabisi, and other commanders, although this wasn't immediately confirmed by the militants. This area is the heartland of Hezbollah in the capital, but it's a crowded population hub too. South of the country got pounded again. They've been non-stop.
Oh, there's another one.
We witnessed the airstrikes throughout the day. It's been relentless. The Israeli force promised to accelerate their offensive, and they're holding good on that vow. The constant bombardment means the mass movement of people has been going on for more than 30 hours now. The desperate rush to get out of the line of fire means the humanitarian crisis here is growing and growing. My family have no money. We've got nothing, Fatima told us. How are we going to survive? We've lost everything. Like many here, her home was bombed and people have been scrambling to get basic supplies. The emergency workers are overwhelmed, struggling to cope with scarce resources and a sudden spike in the numbers who've been forced out of their homes, on top of those who fled over the past year of cross-border exchanges.
Half of the IDPs people, they stepped in the garden, in the beach, without any tent, any cover, any blanket, in the streets and in their cars. For that said, it's a disaster. And you see, when you see the eyes of the babies and the woman, it's really.
The Israeli forces hit east of the country too, the Bekaa Valley. They say they're targeting Hezbollah weapons stores and fighters hiding in residential areas. But amongst the dead in the Bekaa Valley was a young mother who worked for UNHCR. She and her young son were killed when an airstrike hit their home. Her husband and second child survived but are critical. The Refugee Agency said it was outraged and saddened at the killing. The emergency centres are full of families. This man told us his was the only home in his village left standing and insisted his area was not involved in the fighting.
That's not true. Not a single target was on a military position. They're only hitting civilians. We don't have military operations in our village.
It's been a terrifying few days for Lebanon and one of the nation's worst weeks in nearly a year, with a titanic wave of people moving out of the south and still moving. We were among the huge displacement and saw the constant airstrikes either side of the main coastal highway as people tried to flee. The astonishing huge movement of the Lebanese population from the south comes on the back of nearly a year of Israel saying it wants to create a buffer zone so Hezbollah cannot fire into its northern communities. Hezbollah's linked its attacks on Israel since last October to a Gaza ceasefire, and with the Israeli forces vowing to increase their onslaught on the militants, Lebanon looks set for a very rough period ahead. Alex Crawford, Sky News in Tyre, southern Lebanon.